Hi there, welcome back to Leeds Lobby. It's good to see you. We're going to, in this video, be looking at some of the people that Leeds might be signing now that potentially the Rafinha money looks like it's coming in.
Particularly strikers.
Particularly strikers who we might be signing, that we might be linked with in replacement of, well, not really in replacement of anybody, just because we're a little bit shallow and we're a little bit narrow, and it may be that under Jesse Marsh we're actually playing two up front rather than one up front. Before we go any further, before we get into the nuts and the bones of what we're actually going to be talking about, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and obviously feel free to comment afterwards because we do interact with the comments. So let's get into it. So where we're at the minute, it appears, and there are conflicting messages regarding Rafinha and Barcelona. It seems at one minute that Barcelona are prepared to make a verbal announcement, then they're offering us 58. It seems to me like they're waiting for Chelsea's interest to wane so that they can actually potentially drive the price down. My concern is that we don't get that money up front, and if we don't get that money up front, we can't reinvest.
Yeah, Barcelona are still paying Liverpool back for Coutinho. He's played at two clubs since then. Barcelona don't even own Coutinho anymore.
No, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Do you think that this signifies Leeds being a selling club, the fact we're letting these two go?
I think the whole saga's sort of shown that Leeds aren't a selling club anymore, because we could have just taken 45 million up front from Barcelona at the start of the window. And I'm quite impressed with how we stood our ground and we didn't get bullied by Barcelona.
I think the other thing is, when you talk about people, clubs that are selling clubs, they will develop players, they'll bring players in that are cheap and they'll sell them on. They won't necessarily reinvest in the club because they're not looking to improve. One thing I will say with regards to where Leeds are at right now, it does fit more or less the model in the sense that we seem to be strengthening the squad. I don't think there's many Leeds fans, probably is a few, who would say that having sold those two players and brought all these players in, that Leeds have got a weaker team as a result of it. I think we're going to kick on this season. What do you think?
I think we have, yeah. I think we've definitely done good business. I think it's strikers all we need, and then I think we'll do well this season. But bearing in mind, we've made no matter how much more Barcelona are going to offer at the minute, if we accept their offer now, we've made a 350% return on Rafinha, which is absolutely mental. That is the Leicester model in full flow.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, a couple of questions there. So we're looking at potentially 5 possible strikers that we look like we're in for. Now, that's not to say that if Leeds sign a striker, that this is going to be one of the ones that we sign. And the reason why I say that is because, as we see with Sinisterra, that was completely and totally out of the blue. It weren't something that was in the news. It weren't something that was mentioned. We seem to find that in particular circumstances, Orta and the board will be very, very quiet, and even Phil Hay will be very, very quiet on who we've got coming in, on account of the fact they don't want to alert other clubs to the availability of certain players. So even though we're talking about 5 set players here, it ain't necessarily one of these 5 that we're going to sign, but I do think we're both agreed that Leeds are going to sign a striker before the start of the new season.
I think we will.
What's the chances that striker's going to be American, Dan?
Well, what American strikers have you got, really? I don't even know the American international striker. I know I've learnt most of the American team, but I'm trying to think of the striker. I did know him at some point.
No?
You keep talking. I'm going to look at American
No,
strikers.
don't.
I don't.
So let's have a look at what we've been linked with. The first one, it has got an American link, and it's Castellanos.
The MLS and everything.
He plays in the MLS and he plays for New York, and he's part of the City group. It does seem to me that Leeds really, really early on in the window, I think, did we not say that Orta and Canea were...
Yeah, they were in a restaurant in New York talking to what appeared to be his agent.
And that's gone really, really quiet. And it seems that everybody we're linked with at this moment in time also seems like they're linked with Newcastle.
And AC Milan.
It's almost like Newcastle and AC Milan and Leeds are all going to sign a striker, and we're all going to have been in for the 3 strikers. It's who we end up getting at the end of the day. But Castellanos does look like the real deal. He doesn't seem to me to be a typical number 9. He seems to be a striker, but it's very much an off the shoulder kind of striker.
Obviously Argentina internationally can put a good word in for us for Messi, but I think he's a good player. He definitely has great potential. I think he's 25 years old.
His stats look really good,
and he looks like a great player. The one problem with him is that he's not really an aerial threat. He's not a problem in the air. He's not got the height, as many Argentinians aren't actually too tall.
I think there's an argument to say, that if Bamford is fit all season and starts all but 2 or 3 of the games, we don't actually want a number 9. We actually want an off-the-shoulder striker to partner with him. But if he's going to be injured for a lot of the season, like he has been last year, then there's an argument to say that what we need is a number 9. So where Bamford
You want to
sits,
get like a combination, don't you? You want to get like a hybrid almost.
yeah. So it's interesting. I think that's why that's why CDK seems to be favourite, because he can play both as a number 9 and as a false number 9 as well. So that's.
I think Callum Winks is also a good option.
Yeah.
I think for me, Callum Winks is arguably the perfect striker for us.
I don't think necessarily that's the case, again, because the aerial threat, because he's only short.
I mean, most of these are, though.
Yeah, that's to be fair. But so for Castellanos, I mean, for me, in terms of where he fit with Leeds, I do think he's got really, really good stats. I do think he's somebody that would play alongside of Patrick Bamford, but not necessarily instead of Patrick Bamford.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to give him as a possible transfer for Leeds United a 6 out of 10.
I'm going to probably give him a 4 because I don't think it will happen.
You don't think it will happen?
No.
Not on account of the fact that he won't fit, but
no, I think he would fit perfectly. I just don't think that there's much chance. I think I said to my dad earlier on, I genuinely think that he will go Newcastle. Yeah. I think that Newcastle will definitely get him.
He's gone quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Callum Winks. Now we did a video when we
I love
landed,
Callum Winks. Everyone knows how much I love Callum Winks.
We did a video on a little bit, very short, proclaiming we were signing Callum Winks. We got off a flight where we'd not had any internet for 3 hours, and when we landed it were all about Callum Winks, and it looked like we were going to sign him. I think we're quite progressed in talks with him. I don't even think that the price we would get him for would necessarily
21 million is apparently the asking price.
I don't think we'd necessarily have to wait for the Rafinha money for that.
Yeah, but I do think we will be waiting for the Rafinha money by hook or by crook. I think either way we're waiting for the Rafinha money, because people don't seem to understand we are not going to sign a player until we're back from Australia. Okay. We will not. We don't have Jesse Marsh there to greet the player or anything. I don't think that we will actually sign a player until we are back from Australia.
And that's quite
because
interesting.
you want to sign a player and you want to get him in training. But if the whole squad is in Australia, then you're going to need to wait. And I think we will see, as soon as the Australia tour's done, within a couple of days, I think you will see a Callum Winks announcement.
Do you think Callum Winks is the one that's coming?
I think Callum Winks is the one that's coming.
And how well do you think he fits? Does he play across the front line or just up front?
Well, if I had to liken Callum Winks to a one Premier League striker, it would be Patson Daka. I think he's a very Patson Daka-esque striker. He's quick, he holds the ball up well, he's quite a good dribbler, but he does have the finishing attributes as well. I think Callum Winks is a really good striker, and I would liken him to Patson Daka.
In previous seasons, what's his goal tally been like?
I think he had a goal every 180 minutes, which is a decent number. A goal every 2 games, and I think he had a goal contribution every 1.5 games.
Well, that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent then for a striker.
It's decent.
I know that JT Live's just recently done a video about Dries Martins, and I know that he did some tactical stuff which looks really, really good. So if you've not seen that, by all means hop over to JT Live and check that out, because it was a good video. I thought it was really, really interesting to see what he thought was going to go on with Leeds and their strikers. But Dries Martins,
just quickly, what would you rate Callum Winks as signing for a Leeds player out of 10 out of like reliability?
I think the chances are he's going to be the one that we're going to get from PSG.
I would give him an 8 out of 10, because I think we will get him.
I think the likelihood of us signing him is an 8. Whether he fits or not, again, I don't think he's an out-and-out number 9. I think he's somebody that would play alongside Patrick Bamford rather than instead of Patrick Bamford, and I think also that's really, really important when we consider whether Patrick Bamford is going to be fit all season or not.
Yeah. Now, next one is Dries Mertens.
Yeah. JT Live's done a video on this.
Yeah, go watch that. That was a good video.
Good video.
But see, the problem with Dries Mertens is age. He's 32. He's really good experience, but are you really going to get more than 2 seasons out of him?
He's going to want a 2-year contract, and he's going to want to be on a lot of money. Now, there's no problem with that if you can weigh in with goals and with assists, and obviously the experience is going to be very, very important. But long term, is he really an answer to our situation, or are we going to want to bring somebody young in that we can potentially continue with this buying young players and potentially selling them on for profit?
I want to go for younger players. If we are following the Leicester model, then signing a 32-year-old who's going to get 2 seasons ain't going to do it.
We would get him on a free.
But I don't think signing a 32-year-old on a 2-year contract is going to do it for me. I think we need to follow what we did with Rafinha, where we sign if we sign a 23-year-old up his value a bit and then sell him on for profit in the next few years.
That's not going to happen with Dries Martins, but what we might get is an immediate impact in the squad
and the dressing room because of the experience.
Doesn't seem to be the direction that Leeds United are going in right now. So for me, I don't think they'll sign him.
I'd give it a 3 probably at most. That's generous.
I do think he would fit. I think he's an amazing player, but I don't think he's right for Leeds right now.
So Commando Broja.
What do you think about him?
He scored against Leeds, but obviously I've said it a few times. It's easy to score against Leeds last season. I think Armando Broja is he's a promising young player, but I don't think that he's ready to come in. And if Patrick Bamford's injured, I don't think he's ready to play in that first team. This guy wasn't even playing first team for Southampton. Okay, it was back up to Shea Adams. It was back up to Adam Armstrong. This guy, if we want him to come in and play first team for Leeds, if Patrick Bamford gets injured or when Patrick Bamford gets injured, I don't think that he's ready for that. And it would probably be a loan. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be on a contract with us. It would be on a loan.
No, that's interesting. You mentioned Shea Adams. We were linked with him at the start of the window. What's changed there?
I think he'll go Forest. I think that Shea Adams is. I don't really want him. I wanted him at the start of the window, but looking at some of the clubs that are linked with him, and looking at rewatching some of his clips and stuff, he's not anything special really.
But is there also an extent to which seeing Leeds signings and seeing the ambition that Leeds seem to have shown with their signings, our expectations for what we want in a striker is almost being spoilt a little bit in the sense that we're willing to accept less?
It is possible. But I think Shea Adams is obviously, we're from Ilkeston, and he started his career at Ilkeston Town, which is quite something good for us. But I don't think that he's anything special, Shea Adams. But anyway, back to Broja.
You're from Ilkeston, I'm from Wakey.
Yeah. I'm from Ilkeston. Back to Broja. What would you rate the reliability, Dad?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. Again, if it's a loan, I don't think we're looking at loaning players right now. I think we're looking at actually investing in the squad for years to come. It seems this way. So for me, I don't think that's highly likely.
Yeah. So we've got 2 more here on the list: CDK and Brereton Diaz. So
Brereton Diaz.
We forgot to put him on the list, but I've just remembered him. CDK. What do you think the chances are that we end up signing Charles de Ketelaere?
Well, right now it seems like we've got a reverse of the Barcelona situation, and I say it's a reverse because it's obviously Leeds that are included in that whole state of affairs. But it looks to me like Inter Milan they're not budging on their valuation.
AC Milan?
Sorry, AC Milan. They're not budging on their valuation of the player. They're not budging. And as such,
you mean Bruges aren't budging on?
No, AC Milan. They're not willing to.
I think the last offer they put in was 18 million.
They're not willing to.
Leeds are putting 35 million. We've nearly doubled. We possibly have doubled it with add-ons.
Now the difference between, of course, Milan and Barcelona. Barcelona were always talking about giving us money, but trying to knock it down the path and trying to really get out of paying it. Milan are a little bit different. They're actually just not. They're not even. They can pay the full value.
I mean, these are the Serie A champions. They could pay it, but
and
they're not.
This is showing the state of affairs with the Premiership and how the Premiership has got so much more buying power and so much more money available to it than some of these other nations. And really, what's happening is that the Premiership is getting stronger and stronger. And some of these other nations, like top Italian clubs, they're not able to afford the same sort of money. And ultimately, I haven't. People are talking a lot about the fact that Milan is Charles de Ketelaere's first choice, but I think I don't think he said he doesn't want to come to Leeds. I think what he's saying is he would prefer to go to Milan. Now, that being the case, he's got to be looking at Rafinha. He's got to be looking at Rafinha coming to Leeds and now getting his big money move. Remember, this guy's only 21, so he's actually younger than Rafinha was when he came to Leeds. He's got time on his side. And it may well be that he actually comes and arrives at Ellen Road. I'd love to see him. He looks like a proper.
He looks like a future star for me.
He looks like a unit. He looks like a proper player.
I think
somebody with room for development too. What do you think?
I think that I think that he would be. He's obviously everyone's first choice. My first choice is Callum Winks, just because he's a little bit more on the cheaper side. And my reasoning for this is what do you do if Patrick Bamford comes back, firing on all cylinders? He's got a point to prove. He wants to get to England for the World Cup, and he's scoring like 15 goals. He's scoring like a goal every 2 games, and he's scoring like a lot of goals, right? Joffy comes in and he wants the He wants the number 9 spot to be his own, so he comes in, he's scoring a goal every couple of games. And then you've got a CDK who's coming, he's actually absolutely ripping it apart. What do? You've got 3 strikers who are absolute beasts, and Joffrey will be an absolute beast, and Bamford will come back with a point to prove. What do? Because you're going to have to bench one of them. And that won't make him happy, because if he's scoring a lot of goals, then he's not going to be happy to be on the bench.
No.
So I don't think we need to be looking at, like, we don't need, and then obviously if Patrick Bamford gets injured, then we can chuck him in there. But I don't think we need to be looking at an absolute world beater of a striker. I think we need to be looking at someone who's similar quality to Patrick Bamford, and that's why I think Callum Winks would fit perfectly, because we get him. He's not going to want to be playing games, playing week in, week out. He's not going to want to come in and be like complaining like Rafinha if he's on the bench for a couple of games. I think that CDK is a great. I would love to have him at Leeds. If we did sign him, then I would back him and I would be very happy with him.
And he would be starting every game.
Yeah, and he would be starting every game. You're not going to bring him in and bench him for the first game.
Not with the value we're paying for him.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Let us know what your thoughts
Brereton
are.
Diaz.
It may well be, and I have said this before, that Victor Orta pulls an ace out of the hat and we end up with a player that nobody even knew was unsettled or was wanting to move. In the same way with the Sinisterra, there was nobody else in for him. It was just Leeds because we kept it quiet. Let's have a look and see what happens here. It may be CDK.
You got Brereton Diaz as well. We've still got to talk about him.
Brereton Diaz. Yes, tell me about Brereton Diaz.
So Blackburn Rovers, Chile international. He's got a funny story behind how we ended up in the Chile national team. Someone found out that he was part Chilean on Football Manager, and then they rung up the Chile national team and they gave him his call up because they needed a striker. It's quite interesting. But anyway, back on track. He dropped off in the last quarter of last season.
Were we linked with him last year?
Yeah, we were always linked with him. He's one of the players that we're always linked with. But I think now more than ever, the links are sort of getting a lot of momentum, and I personally think that he will be. He could be up there as up on the list of Leeds priorities, but I do think that he could be. It's really a hit or miss. If we sign him and he continues the form he had in like the last quarter of last season, it'll be mediocre. It'll be okay. It wouldn't be bad, but it wouldn't be like the best thing since sliced bread. If we bring him in and he gets back on form like he was at the start of this season, where people were throwing around the idea that he could end up with 40 goals by the end of the season, which obviously he didn't. But he did score quite a few. So if he comes and he shows that form for Leeds week in, week out, then we're going to have some serious contention for the striker spot. And I think that he could be a good player.
So let us know what you think. Again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button.
We are going to be, later on, I think we are going to be doing a live stream, is it, over on...
I think we're going to be a live stream in the States with a YouTube channel
called It's Called Soccer, which
is
obviously very political, because I think that it is called football, but
very unfortunate.
But we will be live, not on this channel, but on their channel. So go over to It's Called Soccer,
and that'll be at 5 o'clock in the UK.
And that'll be at 5 o'clock in the UK, 6 o'clock here in Croatia.
They're going to be bringing us some information
on the US national team
and what their thoughts are with regards to some of the US signings that we've got and how Jesse Marsh might line up. We're going to be talking to them a little bit about the history of Leeds. Because there are many people now beginning to support Leeds United who are over in the States. It's all good from a marketing point of view because, again, the revenue that we get from that is something that we put back into players. It's what the 49ers do wherever they go. Yeah. It seems to be that there's that link now with the States, and it's inevitable that 49ers will be buying us out. So, by all means, hop over there and watch the content.
At 5 o'clock.
But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to our channel and also like and comment.
See you next
time.
Enjoy.